In the winter of 1989, something crawled out of the Wisconsin wilderness. Something that walked on two legs, had the face of a wolf, and left claw marks in the pavement. I was part of the team sent to investigate. What we found wasn't supposed to exist. December 1989, Fort McCoy, Wisconsin. I was a combat medic stationed at the base, 2 years into my service, still young enough to think I'd seen the worst humanity had to offer. I hadn't. It was a Tuesday when Captain Mercer called me into his office. The hallway smelled like burnt coffee and industrial cleaner. Fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, casting that sickly yellow glow that makes everyone look half dead. I knocked twice. Enter. Mercer sat behind a gray metal desk, arms crossed, jaw tight. Next to him stood a woman I didn't recognize. Mid-40s, wearing a long wool coat still dusted with snow, her eyes sharp and calculating. She didn't smile. "Corporal Hayes," Mercer said, gesturing to a chair. "This is Dr. Evelyn Marsh. She's with the CDC. Sort of." I sat. The chair was cold. Dr. Marsh leaned forward. "We have a situation in Elkhorn, small town about 40 minutes south. Over the past 3 weeks, there have been 7 incidents involving an unidentified animal. 3 livestock killed, 2 vehicles damaged, and 2 civilians injured." "Injured how?" I asked. She slid a manila folder across the desk. I opened it. The first photo showed a man's arm, deep parallel gashes running from shoulder to wrist. The wounds were ragged, torn, not clean like a knife. The second photo showed the side of a car, 4 long gouges in the metal, deep enough to see the undercarriage. "Jesus," I muttered. "The locals think it's a bear," Mercer said. "But bears don't stand 7 feet tall, and they don't chase cars." Dr. Marsh's voice dropped. "We need a medical professional on site, someone who can assess injuries, collect samples, and keep their mouth shut. You've been cleared for classified fieldwork. This stays off the books." I looked up. "Off the books? What is this?" Mercer leaned back. "Hayes, something is out there. We don't know what. But people are getting hurt, and if this spreads, we'll have a panic on our hands. Your job is to assist Dr. Marsh, document everything, and help us figure out what the hell we're dealing with." I felt my stomach tighten. "When do we leave?" "Now." The drive south was quiet. Dr. Marsh didn't talk much. She kept her eyes on the road, hands gripping the wheel like she was holding something down. Snow fell in thick, lazy flakes, covering the pines that lined Highway 67. The world felt muffled, isolated. Elkhorn was a small town, population maybe 7,000. Main Street had a hardware store, a diner, a post office. Christmas lights hung from the lampposts, but they looked dim, like the town had lost interest in celebrating. We pulled up to the Walworth County Sheriff's Department just after noon. Inside, it smelled like stale coffee and old paper. A deputy sat at the front desk, young guy, maybe 25, with dark circles under his eyes. "Dr. Marsh," he asked, standing quickly. "That's me. This is Corporal Hayes. We're here to see Sheriff Pritchard." The deputy nodded and led us down a narrow hallway. The walls were covered with maps, incident reports, and a cork board full of grainy Polaroids. I caught a glimpse of one, a shadow in the trees, something large and hunched. Sheriff Pritchard was a broad man in his late 50s, gray-haired, with a face carved from stone. He sat behind his desk, arms folded, eyes red from lack of sleep. "You're the federal people," he said flatly. Dr. Marsh nodded. "We're here to help." Pritchard snorted. "Help. Right. You know what people are saying? They're saying it's a werewolf. A goddamn werewolf." I almost laughed. Almost. "What do you think it is?" I asked. Pritchard's jaw tightened. "I think it's something I've never seen before, and I've been sheriff here for 20 years. He pulled out a folder, spread photos across his desk. I leaned in. The first showed a cow, gutted, ribs splayed open. The second showed tire marks in the mud, and next to them, deep impressions. Not paw prints, not boot prints, something in between. 5 toes, claws. This was taken 3 nights ago, Pritchard said, tapping a photo. Woman named Doris Gibson was driving home when something ran in front of her car. She said it was massive, covered in dark fur, walked on 2 legs. Dr. Marsh's face was unreadable. Where is she now? Her house. Won't leave. Too scared. We need to talk to her. Pritchard nodded slowly. I'll take you. Doris lived on the edge of town, where the houses gave way to farmland and forest. Her home was a small ranch style, paint-peeling, chain-link fence around the yard. 3 dogs barked as we pulled up. Pritchard knocked. No answer. Doris, it's me. I've got some people who want to help. The door cracked open. A woman's face appeared, mid-60s, pale, eyes wide and haunted. I already told you what I saw, she whispered. I know, Pritchard said gently, but they need to hear it. She let us in. The house smelled like cigarettes and lavender. The curtains were drawn, every light was on. Doris sat on the couch, hands trembling as she lit a cigarette. It was just after 10, she began, voice shaking. I was coming back from my sister's. Bray Road is dark, no streetlights. I was going maybe 35 when it came out of the trees. Describe it, Dr. Marsh said softly. Doris closed her eyes. Tall. Taller than a man, maybe 7 feet. Covered in dark brown fur, matted and wet. Its face, she choked. Its face was wrong, like a wolf, but human. The eyes were yellow, and it looked at me, not like an animal, like it was thinking. What did it do? I asked. It ran alongside my car. I floored it, 60, 70 miles an hour. It kept up. Then it jumped onto the hood. My blood went cold. It clawed at the windshield. I could hear it breathing, smell it, like rotting meat and wet dog. I swerved, hit the brakes, and it fell off. When I looked back, it was standing in the middle of the road, just watching me. Dr. Marsh leaned forward. Did it make any sounds? Doris nodded, tears streaming down her face. It growled, but it wasn't just a growl. It sounded angry, almost human. That night, we went to Bray Road. It was a narrow, winding stretch of pavement that cut through dense forest. No houses, no lights, just trees and darkness. Dr. Marsh parked on the shoulder, killed the engine. Silence pressed in. We'll walk the area, she said, pulling out a flashlight. Look for tracks, scat, anything biological. I grabbed my med kit and followed. The cold bit into my face. Snow crunched under our boots. Our breath came out in white clouds. The forest was too quiet. No birds, no rustling, nothing. We found the claw marks first. 4 deep gouges in a tree trunk, about 6 feet off the ground. Fresh. The bark was splintered, sap still oozing. Take a sample. I scraped some of the sap and wood into a vial. My hands were shaking, not from the cold. Then I saw the tracks. They led from the tree into the underbrush, large, clawed, but the shape was wrong. Too elongated, too deliberate. I knelt, measuring with my hand, 14 inches long. Dr. Marsh. She came over, crouched beside me. Her flashlight swept over the print. For the first time, I saw fear in her eyes. This isn't a bear, I said. No, she whispered. It's not. A branch snapped behind us. We both froze. I turned slowly, shining my light into the trees. Nothing, just shadows. Another snap. Closer. We need to go, Dr. Marsh said, her voice tight. We moved quickly back to the car. I kept my light on the forest, scanning, heart pounding. Just before we reached the car, I saw it. A shape. Tall, hunched, moving between the trees. Get in, I shouted.
We jumped into the car. Dr. Marsh started the engine, hands shaking. As we pulled away, I looked back. It was standing at the edge of the road, massive, covered in dark fur, yellow eyes glowing in the headlights. And it was watching us.
The next morning, we got a call. Another incident. A man named Russell Bourne had been attacked while feeding his horses. We arrived at his farm just after sunrise. Pritchard was already there. Russell sat on his porch, left arm wrapped in bandages, face pale. "I'm fine," he muttered, but his hands were shaking. "Can you tell us what happened?" I asked, pulling out my kit. He lit a cigarette. "I was in the barn, around 5 a.m. Heard the horses going crazy. Thought it was a coyote. I grabbed my shotgun and went out." "And?" Pritchard pressed. "It was standing in the paddock, just standing there. I've never seen anything like it. It looked at me, and I swear to God, it smiled." "What did you do?" "I fired, missed. It came at me so fast I didn't have time to reload. Knocked me down, clawed my arm." He pulled back the bandage. 4 deep gashes, parallel, already starting to bruise. I cleaned the wound, took samples. The edges were ragged, torn, consistent with claw marks. But there was something else, a faint, oily residue. "What is this?" I muttered, swabbing it. Dr. Marsh took the sample, held it up to the light. Her face went pale. "We need to get this to a lab now." Back at the motel, Dr. Marsh spread her notes across the table. I sat across from her, exhausted, hands still trembling. "What the hell is out there?" I asked. She didn't answer right away. Finally, she looked up. In 1936, there were reports of a similar creature near Jefferson County. Farmers found livestock mutilated. Witnesses described a wolf-like creature that walked upright. The report stopped after 3 months. No explanation. "You think it's the same thing?" "I think it's related. But this..." She tapped the residue sample. "This isn't just an animal. The cellular structure is abnormal. Part mammalian, part something else." "Something else?" She met my eyes. "I don't know." A knock at the door made us both jump. It was Pritchard. He looked worse than before, pale, sweating. "We've got a problem," he said. "It attacked again, tonight. A couple on Bray Road. The man's dead." The scene was chaos. Ambulances, police cars, lights flashing. The man's car was on its side, windows shattered, blood smeared across the pavement. The woman sat in the back of an ambulance, wrapped in a blanket, eyes vacant. I approached slowly. "Ma'am, I'm Corporal Hayes. I need to ask you what happened." She didn't respond at first. Then, in a voice barely above a whisper, "We were driving home. It jumped onto the roof. Tom tried to swerve, but it tore through the window. It grabbed him, pulled him out. I heard him screaming." Tears streamed down her face. "It didn't eat him. It just killed him. And then it looked at me, like it wanted me to see." Dr. Marsh was examining the car. I joined her. The roof was caved in, claw marks everywhere. And on the hood, pressed into the metal, a handprint. Not a paw, a hand with claws. "We're not dealing with an animal," Dr. Marsh said quietly. "This is something intelligent, something hunting." That night, we set a trap. Pritchard, Dr. Marsh, 2 deputies, and me. We went back to Bray Road, armed, waiting. The hours dragged. Midnight came. Then 1 a.m. The cold was brutal. My breath came out in clouds. My hands ached. At 2:17 a.m., we heard it. A low, guttural growl. Close. We raised our weapons, lights sweeping the trees. And then it stepped into the road. It was massive, easily 7 feet tall, covered in dark, matted fur. Its face was elongated, wolf-like, but the eyes were too aware, too human. It stood on two legs, shoulders hunched, claws dragging on the pavement. "Hold your fire," Dr. Marsh shouted. It tilted its head, studying us. Then it spoke. Not words, not quite, but a sound, deep, rasping, almost like a voice trying to form. "Run." We opened fire. It moved faster than anything I'd ever seen. Bullets hit, but it didn't fall. It lunged into the trees, disappearing into the darkness. We never saw it again. 3 days later, I was back at Fort McCoy. Dr. Marsh's report was classified. The town of Elkhorn went quiet. The attack stopped. But sometimes, late at night, I think about that thing standing in the road, the way it looked at me, the way it spoke. And I wonder, was it the only one? If you're ever driving through Wisconsin and you find yourself on Bray Road after dark, keep your windows up, keep your doors locked. And whatever you do, don't stop, because some things aren't meant to be found.